Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Today we are focusing on goals for 2020. Now let me ask you, before we dive into setting your goals for 2020, let's look at your year, 2019. When you started the year, did you sit down to officially come up with a list of goals that you wanted to achieve? If you did, then you want to kind of sit down and do some kind of reflection, right? How did my year go? Let me go through my list. Did I achieve, the things I had on my list? If I did not achieve it, why didn't I? You kind of want to lay all of that on the table before you go planning for your 2020. Why? Because it's just going to make your year a lot more successful. It's going to draw your attention to things that you kind of missed on your way in 2019, and it's going to help you, as you go through 2020. So one, I would say reflect. So reflection is very key, right? Reflection draws your attention to things that you wouldn't have otherwise thought of if you didn't take the time to kind of do some in-depth thinking. So reflection is what I would suggest you do. Take a day off. If you have kids, ask your husband if he can take care of the kids, send the kids over to a babysitter. Make time for yourself so you can do some reflection. It's important. Why? Because you are able to kind of go through the list of things you had for your year. You can clearly think through what you did right, what you did not think right, what you did not do right. And then you can kind of make a list of what you can do to make your 2020 better. So here, these are some suggestions I have for goals for 2020 in case you haven't thought of any for yourself. Number one, clear your debt. This is one of the discussions my husband and I have had in 2019. Going into 2020, we got to clear some of our debt. Why? Because if you're looking to invest, you always want to have cash on hand, right? And if you are so deep in debt, credit card debt, all kinds of debt. Student loan debt is a good debt. Having a mortgage is a good debt. Credit card debt, not so much. So you want to kind of make a plan for yourself. As you approach 2020, sit down, crank out an Excel spreadsheet, make a list of all the debt that you have, right? And then come up with a solid plan. In 2020, this is what I want to clear. Let's say you have 5 credit cards. Each of them has $1,000 balance on it, making it $5,000, right? Your goal for 2020 should be to clear about $4,000 of that, right? Because you want to make sure your credit card is not completely maxed out. And when people are looking to extend credit to you, they're looking at your existing balance, right? They're looking at how much debt you have on each of your credit cards. So it's important that you can show people that they can trust you with their money. So one of your goals for 2020 should be to lower your debt. It's important. You just can't keep shopping and hope to have little debt. It just doesn't work that way. So make it a point to kind of go through the list of things that you owe and then narrow it down. Which ones can I really clear? And I would advise that you always start from the lowest to the highest, right? Okay, so in terms of credit card debt, this is my advice to you. If you start with the highest first, you are going to feel like you're not making progress, which is the most unmotivating thing ever, right? So let's take, for example, you having a credit card that has a balance of $10,000. Every month you decide, okay, I'm going to pay $1,000 off. That's just an example. It's going to take you a good 10 months to achieve that. And for most people, because they don't see the change coming as quick as they would like to, it's a form of deterrence. It's a form of they're not motivated. They don't feel like any change is happening. As opposed to if you have 5 credit cards, right? One has $10,000, one has $5,000. The rest have $1,000 each. Start with the smallest one because you can see it. You can feel the change whenever you clear balance off. So in the first month, you pay off that first credit card, and you can visibly see that one credit card is done and over with. That motivates you to keep going. So that's my advice for clearing your credit card debts. Now, the next thing you want to do is look into investing. You cannot just keep spending money and not have anything bringing money in. So it's important that you find something that kind of provides you and your family with some passive income, right? And when we talk investment, I'm not talking about something that requires a huge capital, like 100K, 200K. No, there are so many investments that you can do that require a very low capital. And you don't necessarily have to invest here in the US. If you're from a different country like I am, if you're from Ghana, you can find certain, businesses or trades or individuals to do business with in Ghana that can generate money for you. And listen, you have to find somebody you trust. That's number one. But find somebody you trust. Find a trade that you want to go into and invest. You cannot just keep spending money and not bring in money. It just doesn't work that way. And so you have to find something that brings in passive income. When you're not working, it generates money for you. And it doesn't have to be something that is really huge or significant. It can be $100 every week, $200 every week. But guess what? If you save $100, $200 every week, imagine what you would have in a year. A lot of money. So find something you can invest in. But before you can move to that point, you really have to learn to lower your debt. The other thing I would urge you to have on your goals, your list of goals, is to save some money. It doesn't matter how much you put aside. Put something aside. Every paycheck, you tell yourself, I'm going to put aside $50, right? And you put it in an account that you don't have access to, because trust me, if you have it sitting in your savings account or your checkings account, it's gonna go out. Find an account, set up an account that you do not have access to readily, and put that money in there, and just let it grow. Let it grow. I mean, you have to have some money set aside for incidentals. You have to have some money set aside for issues that come up. I mean, every day we have to deal with car issues. For those of you who have kids, you just never know when you have to go into the hospital. The other thing I'm going to ask you to have on your list is to make time to spend some quality time with your family. Now, this is what I know about Ghanaian parents. They work really hard. Man, they work hard. Ghanaians in general, Africans in general, work hard. But what I do know about them is they don't take any time for themselves. None whatsoever. And this is not what you want for your life. This is not what you want for your children. You want your children to live and experience life, right? So as you go through your goals and your list of things to do, plan a vacation for yourself. Take your family away. And when I say take your family away, not just going back to Ghana. I mean, go to Florida, take a trip to Mexico. You might say you don't have the money, but like we discussed earlier on, if you clear your debt, then you can make time to spend quality time with your family, right? Because you have more cash coming in and not necessarily going out. And so you can plan a trip. Like last 2 years, my husband and I planned a trip to Mexico. And when we told people that it only cost us $1,500 to send 3 people to Mexico for 5 days, people were shocked. You don't have to buy a ticket that's expensive. You can get yourself a ticket that's affordable, and you can still have a wonderful time with your family. So as you start the new year, I would urge you to make time to spend with your family. Life is just too short, and you cannot just keep working and not compensate yourself. Doesn't work that way. The body needs to rest, and just revive itself. So you gotta give it that time. And going away for 5 days is not gonna kill your budget. Believe me, you might think it is, but it's not gonna kill your budget. It's gonna give you a clear mind to make more informed decisions for you and your family. So let's just do a quick recap. In 2020, one of your goals should be to eliminate some debt, right? And we've talked about how you can potentially do that. Find the lowest debt you have. Make a list of all the debt, rank them lowest to highest, and start from the bottom and work your way up. Right? Work your way up or work your way down, whichever way you have it, and just make sure you clear it one at a time. Paying off your debt is going to open up the opportunity for you to save some money. And if you can put aside some money, then you can look into investing, right? You can look into investing because at this point you have a little bit of capital to go into investing. I wish you all the very best in 2020. Remember, set yourself some goals. Stay focused on the task and you will be just fine. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe because I'm going to have a lot of videos coming your way.